Edwina, what a location for a jumping event. It surely can't get any better than this, can it? Or can it?
No, the show, every year it's amazing here, and we've got great weather and amazing view and nice sea breeze, and no, great.
I mean, that's obviously one of the many appeals of the Longines Global Champions Tour.
Yeah, I must say, I mean, I remember in the very beginning, Jan really wanted to have a show here, and we saw at the time they had the yacht show, and the yacht show is in the same place, and that gave him the idea for the measurements to have the show, and then we had to look for the stabling. It's been a massive challenge to get it here, but every single thing is down to the centimetre. But amazing that it's pulled together, and every year the show just gets better and better.
You've had an exceptional horse, Ito de Chateau.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
He's going to be retired shortly.
Next week,
next week.
He's going to be retired.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's always a hard decision to make, but you know, when you know your horse is good enough, you know when the time is right. And you know, we decided that we would, you know, finish him on a good note. I didn't want to pull him out and put him in, you know, to do all these other classes. It's just not fair on the horse.
Doesn't know anybody anything, does he?
No, and he's done a lot for everybody, and it's not fair on the horse. He doesn't deserve that, and I want him to be remembered as a, you know, a Grand Prix horse, not a 145 horse, you know. So we decided that, you know, unless he was in super shape, I didn't want to bring him out again. You know, we couldn't get him back to the best shape possible. You know, he can go to the show, but I know, as well as Jan knows and Ito knows, that he's not going to be able to perform at his best. So yeah, so we decided that I really wanted to do it in France because he's French, and I feel like I owe it to the French and to the breeders and to the C'est le Français. So we made that decision, and I was thinking about Cannes, but I just thought it was a bit too much of a big trip, and I just thought the centre of Paris in front of the Eiffel Tower was a unique opportunity, and a place where I think most people are going to be, and so we're going to have it on Sunday after the Gucci Gold Cup, and we have a little ceremony.
No doubt see that on screen anyway. I'll be talking about it because I'll be there.
I think I'm going to be wearing my sunglasses.
If you had to sum it up in one word, that word would be control, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You know, if you watch any of the top riders, I mean, we've got some wonderful riders on the circuit, you know. If you watch them in the morning at a major show, World Cup show, a Nations Cup show, working those horses on the flat, it's a work of art the way they get them.
No, for sure.
Lengthening and shortening, turning right and turning left, that's what it's all about.
I mean, and I mean, it's like some people are like, oh, you know, because Monaco, you know, the ring, it's not that big. But it's kind of, I mean, it is a little bit in some ways like an indoor, but it also depends how the course builder builds it. But you know what, at the end of the day, and I've always said that with Ito, and no matter what size ring, whether it's in Monaco or whether it's in Aachen, they're two extremes. If you've got full control of your horse, you can jump anywhere, you know, and that's one thing I've learnt with Ego. You know, he was fantastic in Madrid. He was double clear, and that's a really big ring compared to Cannes, and he was great there. So yeah, I'm feeling I've made a lot of progression with him as a horse. Chappie, on the other hand, you know, new horse. I've only had him 6 months, whereas Ego I've had a couple of years. Chappie...
Old Chap Tame.
Old Chap Tame,
You'd watched him presumably with Eugenie Angot.
Yeah, I always liked the horse a lot.
I did.
And she's a fantastic rider, and she's done an amazing job with the horse. And you know, he's always been a good chap.
Yeah.
He's got a great attitude, and he's a very careful horse. He's a well-bred horse. He's had a lot of good experience. You know, he's done a lot of you know, good things with Eugenie, and he's easier horse for me than say Ego.
Yeah. I mean, I was
That's just because of his size, and it's just. But he's different. He's a totally different style of horse. You know, and I think for me, I mean, of course, you know, I get on Chappie and I'm like, right, I need to think about this, and this. And I think about it. I get on the other one and I know I've got to think about, you know, so you've got to be super focused. And for sure now with these horses, I have to be much more on the job, much more focused. And because, you know, I mean, Ito I got at 12, and he's a different style of horse, and for sure he was easier, you know. But I'm getting to mold myself into these horses, and it's becoming easier for me. So, so it is becoming much more natural. At that time, there was no internet, there was no, not much going on, and it was difficult for me to know how the show jumping world was outside of Australia. So, I had no idea what I was getting myself into, but I had read some of the Horse and Howl magazines, and I had these dreams of, for me it was, I guess, maybe just a dream to go to the Olympics.
Yeah. You'd actually thought about that as a teenager. Most teenagers do.
Yeah,
I guess,
I had thought about that because, at that time, that was the pinnacle of our sport, was the Olympics, and so that was what I had in my mind, and that was my vision, and that was my goal, and that's what I set out to achieve. And I knew that being in Australia, it was a chance to go, but I didn't want to just go to the Olympics.
Yeah.
And then of course, like as things went on and on and on, my vision changed in many other ways of trying to achieve a lot of other things, and the Olympics fell into place.
Sure. Where did you start out from?
Yeah.
How did you get going?
I mean, well, I had some neighbours next door that rode, and I just loved riding, and so I started out riding there, and I went to Pony Club, and I did all the different disciplines and tried everything, and I just, for some reason, I loved show jumping. It was a bit more fair, and then I continued in that direction, and it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't until I was 24. I was a little bit of a late starter because I went to university, and I wanted to get that under my belt, and I wasn't sure if I had the talent. I wasn't sure if I could be good enough. I wasn't sure how much work had to go into it, although that didn't ever scare me.
So you got a proper job first anyway.
So, yeah.
What do you see luxury brands are coming in now as sponsors. How do you see the appeal of show jumping globally?
I just think that because I've been in it while there's been this change. So I've seen the development, and I've been a part of the development, which is just amazing and fascinating. And I just think that our sport has just taken off so much because of the invention of the global tour, and it's not only lifted our sport. The global tour has not only lifted just that part of the sport; it's lifted the rest of the sport, because the rest of the sport has changed, has had to change. They've had to keep up with the pace, and that's fantastic, because that's the only way you can change things. That's the only way you can build things. And of course, I agree, you have to keep tradition, and you have to a point, but at some stage, things change in life. Technology changes, and kids are growing up in a different way than we used to grow up, so they see things a lot different, So there are a lot of things, and I think a lot of possibilities, and I think that what Jan has invented is just amazing, and I know and I believe that there's going to be more and more and more changes, and in 10 years I don't know what there's going to be. Look at how the golf has changed, look at how Formula One has changed, and they're only getting better, and they're getting more sophisticated, and they're getting more in touch with what's going on in the world. They're using the technology, they're getting more in contact with the outside world. There's more sponsors involved, there's more interest involved from the general public, and I think our sport for such a long time has been too much focused only on the people in the sport. And that's where I think things have gone wrong. And I think that this change has brought so many more possibilities in our sport, and that's why we have these big sponsors. That's why, I mean, I'm super fortunate because I have two of the best sponsors ever. I have Gucci, Jaeger LeCoultre, and they are two of the best sponsors you could have, and I'm really fortunate. And to be honest, if it wasn't because of the change and the development of the show jumping and what Jan has done with the global tour, I don't know if I would have that channel.
Edwina, there's so many people from so many parts of the world now becoming, in a very big way, involved in the sport. The sport is revolutionised, as we've said. You know, it's all changing, and it has a great worldwide appeal, doesn't it? It's a different ball game now to what it was even just a few years ago.
No, I mean, definitely, you know, like I said before, there's a lot more outside interest in the sport, and I think the reason for that is because of the locations where we have the global tour. It's becoming a lifestyle. You know, people enjoy to go to these locations. They want to come to Monaco, they have a great time, they bring their family, they watch their horses, or they ride in the Invitational, the 2-star, or their owners come, they have a fantastic weekend, just a quick, you know, 3-4 days in and out, go off to the next venue, Vienna or Cannes, Shanghai, Doha, you know, you name it.
Paris next week.
Paris next week in the front of the Eiffel Tower. So, I mean, they're locations, and that's where people want to be, and that's what attracts our sport, and that's what attracts the outside world as well. And I think they see it now. It really is a tour, you know, and it's appealing, it's fun, it's interesting. There's a lot of things happening. Plus the fact that now there's so much more money that's being awarded for the success people are having, which you know, as riders, you know, we work hard, and it's not the lifestyle that they think. I mean, it's wonderful to be here, and I'm fortunate because I live here, and it's such a beautiful city. But you know, we don't sometimes soak up all of that while we're away, you know. But we still get a taste of it, but the good thing is that everybody else around us can enjoy that, and we need these people, and that's what our sport needs, and we need to open the doors, and that's what Jan has done.
Jan, as you say, he's done so much to revolutionise the sport, you know, and complacency wouldn't be on his agenda. But I mean, you know, if it isn't broke, don't mend it. Where would the Global Champions Tour go from here, do you think? Can it get any better? Can it get any different? Does it need to be?
No, I mean, sure, everything can get better. You know, I think everything in life can you know, get better. Of course, there's always a limit to certain things, but you know, the limit's the sky. If you see how it's developed from the beginning until now, you maybe never would have thought that then. So I think there's a lot of exciting things happening, and it's a very exciting time for riders to be involved in the sport, and it's interesting, and I believe that in the next few years we are going to see a massive change in the sport.
Well, I'm sure that everybody in the sport wishes you and Jan every success in the future, and I'm very grateful for what you've done to the sport, and good luck to you in your further career. Thanks a lot for your time, Edwina. That was great.
Thanks very much.